Hi, I'm Tania Gabrielle, your wealth astronumerologist, and here is the April 2014 Astro-Numerology Forecast. Now, all I can say about this month's lineup is that breakthroughs are on the horizon, large and small. They're going to shift us, and these new adjustments are going to occur across the board, from earth changes to deeply spiritual awakenings and financial breakthroughs, personal breakthroughs. And so what's causing this intense energetic buildup is that we've got a rare and powerful Cardinal Grand Cross plus 2 eclipses on either side of the Grand Cross. And on top of that, we're in a master number 11 universal month. Like I said, this is huge. And so I want to begin first with the number 11. When you add up for 2014 in numerology, what you get is 11. Now 11 is made up of 2 ones, and since 1 is the first number, it represents the start of something new. Well, 2 ones mean double new beginnings, and anytime you double up on a number in numerology, it intensifies the meaning, and it's called a master number. So 11 is the mastery of accepting brand new perspectives, accepting new people, accepting new plans. So 11 represents 2 columns that you walk through, leaving behind the past, the known, and entering the realms of the unknown as you go into the present, completely free. So the 2 columns in ancient times symbolized a gateway of initiation into higher wisdom. And in this case, the initiation is all about trusting your intuition, listening to your hunches, listening to whatever is going on inside of you and truly paying attention to that. Now hang on to your hats, because the number 11 joins forces with a powerful series of astrology events. Right before the first of those 2 eclipses I mentioned, Pluto goes retrograde on April 13th. And what's so striking is that Pluto goes retrograde at 13 degrees on the 13th. And again, we have a number that's triggered twice in the same event, and this is really, it means we're at a crossroads, because 13 is about life and death and transformation. Pluto is about exactly the same thing, and they're coupling up like this. And you know, 13 is just a very important number anyway, and it comes back again in April, as you're going to see in a minute. So Pluto changes direction at 13 degrees, then we have the first eclipse, and this is actually a very important eclipse because it occurs right before this grand cardinal cross, right? So it's a full moon. It happens on April 15th. It's in Libra, and what's important is that it happens at 7 degrees. And as you know, 7 is the number of 2014. So again, we have a number triggered, the number of our years being triggered by this full moon. So the message of spiritual breakthroughs, patience, sudden insights, learning, meditation, these are all part of the number 7. Okay, so this first eclipse ushers in the really big event, which is that Cardinal Grand Cross, and that involves Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, and Pluto. Now this Grand Cross is complex, it's very dynamic, and it affects both the world and you personally, of course. So it comes exact on April 22nd, which by the way is a master number and reduces to 4. So it manifests in a big way, and it's already starting right now. So I'm sure you're feeling it. So remember how the number 13, which is also a 4, was triggered when Pluto went retrograde at 13 degrees on April 13th? Well, if you look at the 4 planets that make up the Cardinal Grand Cross, you can see that they're all at 13 degrees. Now that's really, really extraordinary. And just to be clear, the number 13, you know, some people are afraid of it. Really, what it indicates is change. So if you have any kind of fear of the future, you may be affected in a way that you know, shows that you're afraid to change. But really, it's a good thing right now, because these numbers create a powerful vortex that represents the circle of life, death, and regeneration. And the square is symbolized by the number 4 as well, because a square has 4 equal sides. So it really is an intense buildup, and then it builds up energy, and then it needs to be released and manifested, especially when it occurs in the cardinal signs, since these 4 signs represent action, leadership, and initiation. And every new season begins with the cardinal signs. So it's a turning point, right? So it makes it particularly dynamic. And we haven't even looked at the planets yet, so let's look at those. We have the ongoing square between Pluto and Uranus, and that's been active since 2011. Well, it's now being stimulated and expanded by Jupiter and Mars to create this big grand square, where Mars is bringing in this sudden aggressive energy, and fortunately Mars is retrograde, so the outward manifestation of movement is a little bit more internalized. However, it's still a powerful lineup that we have. And so if you don't address change head on, there's going to be, some steam that needs releasing. Now, Jupiter adds a big energy. It's the biggest planet of the solar system. It expands everything it touches. It's a grand planet. It's forward-looking. It's hopeful. It looks, towards the future. And Uranus, also part of this grand square, is also about the future, but in a revolutionary way, because Uranus innovates and breaks through old paradigms and patterns. And then finally, Pluto demands that we access our true source of power and deal with power issues. So you can see that this lineup of Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto in a grand square at the heart of all 4 cardinal signs at 13 degrees, right in the middle there, that's very, very dynamic, and it's unpredictable. So there's a huge amount of energy being compressed in that square with that code. As with all energy, it can be expressed negatively or positively. Either way, it will be a catalyst for change. It will have an equally strong impact on Earth events and world events, even in the months to follow, as the effect of the energy release takes root in our consciousness and physical reality. Now, if you're born in a cardinal sign, so let's say you're in Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, you're going to feel these effects even more. And that also goes for you if you know your rising sign or ascendant is a cardinal sign. Now, I want to also mention here that this Cardinal Grand Cross directly affects the United States, which is born on July 4th in Cancer, a cardinal sign. Not only that, the Sun was at 13 degrees on that day, and Saturn was at 14 degrees in Libra, also a cardinal sign, which means that the U.S. is going to be directly affected by this event. It's going to be triggered, and we're going to continue to experience that effect for the U.S. through May, June, and into the summer. And what makes this Cardinal Grand Cross even more striking is that it's framed on both sides, as I said, by these 2 eclipses, which is so amazing. So it really intensifies everything. The second eclipse, a solar eclipse, a new moon eclipse on April 29th. Why is that number so important? Well, 29 adds up to 11. Remember, April is an 11 universal month. So once again, we have a double activation of a number. It's as if the powers that be wanted all the bases covered with this lineup in the heavens. Now, of course, the new moon does represent a beginning. So a new moon eclipse at 29 degrees is taking the beginning energy to a whole new level. And it happens right after that coming together of that Cardinal Grand Cross. So we're processing the changes right now. We're birthing this new energy within us. We are getting a new understanding. And then this eclipse happens with the new moon. So really the message of April's code is that we're walking through a gateway into a new uncharted territory. And this is going to be a deeply personal and universal experience that's shared between people, between nations, between cultures. So you want to ask yourself, is something coming up that needs to end or start for you? So if you've been sitting on the fence about something, some major change or a new direction, or taking a jump with both feet into something that's brand new, you want to do that. You want to die to the past. You want to die to the negative. You want to rebirth and activate the positive inside of you. And that's really the true number of the 13, 11, and 7 lineup here that we have this month. So listen, follow your intuition, follow your heart, get connected with your deepest longings, what brings you fulfillment. Trust those feelings, okay? Don't be afraid of what scares you. It's just allowing you to see what you need to do. That nervousness is really only a sign that you're shifting, okay? That there's a deep transformation taking place. So keep moving. You know, 11 is a very restless energy. It governs light, it governs your nervous system. So move your body, go out and take walks, go on hikes. 2014 governs 7. That's about nature and nourishment. And the 7 governs, you know, the lightning strike of sudden insight. So the combination of going out, being quiet, listening, that is what will take this pressure and create breakthroughs, okay? So go have an amazing month. If anything, it's gonna be stimulating, okay? So have a wonderful month. This is Tania Gabrielle. Thank you so much for watching.